Why Co-Teaching is Important for Student Success by Mehak, Kristen, and Saphire.
Mr. Z has applied for a new position at King Public School in which he will be co-teaching with the science, art, music, and gym teacher. A mandatory component of the application was the inclusion of an essay on the importance of co-teaching and the applicant's view on co-teaching. Mr. Z has defined his topic as why co-teaching is important for student success. The topic paragraph he is using is Education professionals working together impacts the classroom. Although education professionals tend to have different views in the teaching practices when co-teaching, in reality, professional team collaboration amongst school professionals leads to better classroom results. In student achievement, student collaboration, and instructional methods, Mr. Z starts searching for information using the key phrase list and the keywords below: students and teachers, co-teaching, student success, and teaching. He finds multiple sources during his search that he thinks will integrate well with this application essay. He decides on 3 sources by scanning the content of the website only. A basic description of the website source is as follows. The source has correct grammar and properly cited credible sources for all outside information. The site has some grammar mistakes and no reliable sources listed. There are peer-reviewed scholarly journals. He searches through the sources for quotes and information. While searching, he pulls out all possible information into separate documents and makes sure to label which source the information was pulled from. He strategically places all sourced information and uses the correct essay format and reference style. Mr. Z stepped back to look over the process he took at the completion of the essay. Let's review using the Big 6 model. The 6 areas within the Big 6 we are reviewing are define, strategies, access, youth, synthesis, and evaluation. Beginning with define, did he clearly define the information problem and identify necessary information to prepare for a successful information search? Mr. Z has clearly defined his topic as why co-teaching is important for student success. He has gone on to determine that education professionals working together impacts the classroom, although education professionals tend to have different views in their teaching practices when co-teaching. He feels, as a result, professional team collaboration among school professionals will lead to better classroom results in student achievement, student collaboration, and instructional methods. As such, he needs to find solid research to back this information and evidence surrounding the areas of concern with this topic. Mr. Z has come up with some research surrounding his topic by clearly outlining the information problem he was approaching. By doing this, he was able to identify all areas he needed, resulting in a very thorough and complete essay.
Information seeking strategies. Did Mr. Z determine all possible sources and select the best sources? Mr. Z needs to determine all possible sources and select the best one. To find sources, the most efficient way is by creating a keywords and phrases list. Mr. Z has done this, but his list is lacking, which will lead to a poor selection of sources. Mr. Z should edit his list to incorporate more items that are relevant, such as co-teaching, positive effects, student achievement in co-teaching, and teacher collaboration and student results. His next step will be to evaluate the sources he has already found. It is important to only use credible sources. We can examine the sources Mr. Z has chosen to use to see which are credible and which are not. The first and third sites he used have the characteristics of credible sources. Although considering the third source is a bit outdated, Mr. G should find other information to reinforce this source. When a source has grammar mistakes and no reliable sources stated, it shows that the site may not be credible and it should be looked into farther. Therefore, Mr. Z should further examine the second source, and if not credible, he should look for a different source and new information. Locate and access. Locate sources intellectually and physically, and find information within sources. Finding information within sources can vary between people for what works best for them. For the purpose of needing to cite your work, it is important to stay organized and know which paper was used and knowing what source that the information came from. This sets you up to ensure there is no chance of accidental plagiarism within your publication.
Use of information. Did Mr. Z engage and extract the relevant information? Mr. Z found that he was most engaged with literary journals and online articles while completing the research for his essay. He also enjoys talking to experienced people who are able to provide him with first-hand experience. Once Mr. Z got all his information, he needed to extract the relevant things and then focus on those. He looked at the articles, posts, websites, and etc. that were relevant to the topic and used headings to focus on main ideas that would allow him to get an understanding about the article. Another way he extracted the information for his essay was by highlighting keywords or phrases and writing down important points. Once Mr. Z found articles or posts that talked about co-teaching, he focused on using keywords and phrases to look up more in-depth information. He also retrieved information from people who have used co-teaching themselves or experienced the changes firsthand. Synthesis. Organize from multiple sources and present the information. Mr. Z will be presenting his information in essay format, which means he needs to organize his information to know where in the essay it needs to be placed. Another reason he needs to organize the information is that so it's easier for him to state his points and then have strong research points to back those up. He used clear thesis statements in his essay to make it easier for the readers to understand what he is talking about in every paragraph. Using his highlighted points and the notes he took during his readings, he organized the information into the correct paragraphs or categories that they fit into.
Evaluating the produce and the process. Was it effective and efficient? At first, Mr. Z found it very time-consuming and overwhelming the amount of articles that he found. He used a couple of processes to narrow down and eliminate some of the articles. As a result of the overwhelming amount of information, Mr. Z struggled to effectively verify the information through further research. This lack of evaluation meant Mr. Z failed to ensure the information was not outdated and that all evidence was validated by other sources. By not considering the date, his research resulted in inaccurate information based on the lack of knowledge and experience of co-teaching in the past. Some research was not supported by other sources and was standalone material, meaning it could potentially be inaccurate. However, Mr. Z did always ensure the author of the material was credible, resulting in a strong support system of the presented facts.
During his essay research and writing, Mr. Z learned many things and was able to put together a very credible paper that talked about all the benefits that him and his students could receive from co-teaching.